Hey guys, tonight we're stepping into a place no one ever dared to sleep in. Not just because of ghosts or creaky floors, but because this room simply didn't allow it. Imagine a stone tower in a forgotten corner of a castle. No one visits it, no one dusts it, and yet someone or something always relights the candle in the window every night. Even now, you're about to go in there, and I have to say, if you're the kind of person who can't sleep unless the closet door is closed and your feet are tucked safely under the blanket, you probably won't make it through this story. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And drop a comment letting me know where you're listening from and what time it is there. I want to know who's out there, keeping the night company with me. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You push open a heavy wooden door. It lets out a long sigh of rusted hinges. The candlelight you spotted flickering behind it is real, tiny, dancing. It rests on a three-legged table that looks like it might collapse under the weight of a single sigh. And still, it holds. The floor is stone, old and uneven. Dust coats everything in a quiet kind of filth, as if time came through here with dirty feet and never looked back. But the candle is fresh, recently lit. You can smell the wax, that warm, honeyed scent that reminds you of power outages back home, when all you had was firelight and your cousin trying to scare you with dumb stories about dolls that blink. This isn't that, because you haven't lit this candle. And according to the records in the steward's hall, no one has stepped inside this room for over 80 years. But the flame moves like it recognizes you, flickers, stretches toward you, as if it's sighing, "Finally!" You take a cautious step forward, your boot scraping over dust that's oddly shallow. You pause, look down. There are footprints, yours and someone else's. They lead to the window, then stop abruptly, just vanish as if the person either learned to fly or, ceased to exist. Classic old house nonsense, right? Or maybe this is that part of the horror movie where someone says, "Don't go in there." And you do. Congratulations. You're that person now. And you notice something strange. The air isn't cold. Not the biting kind you'd expect from an abandoned tower room. No draft. In fact, it's warm. Just enough to make you feel like someone else was in here minutes ago. Like they might have left their seat warm, if there was a seat. But there isn't. There's only that candle, that table, and the smell. It's not just wax anymore. There's something under it. Burnt herbs? No. You recognize that smell, charcoal, maybe something metallic. Like an old fire that went out a little too fast. You take another breath. There's also roses, burned roses. You didn't know that was a thing. Now you do. You circle the room slowly. On the far wall, etched in barely visible strokes along the stone, you find an inscription. Faded Latin. The kind your high school teacher would have made you translate with a groan. You run your fingers across it, the letters soft and smoothed by time. Dormit al canon existit. You squint, pull up what you remember. He sleeps who does not exist. Reassuring. You check the window, the small, pointed like an arrow slit, and beyond it, black night. No stars, no moon, just a sky that feels unaware of you. But then something shifts, not in the air, in you. A kind of pressure, soft but deliberate, settles on your shoulders. The weight of being watched not by eyes, but by expectation. As if the room has been waiting, not for someone, for you. There's no chair, no bed, but you feel that pull to stay. Your fingers itch. The candle crackles. It's burning lower now, wax sliding down the side like a slow countdown. Tick, Talk. No clock here, but you hear it anyway. And then your eyes fall on the floor again. Remember those footprints? They're gone. No draft, no wind, no you retracing your steps. They just aren't. Your heart does this tiny hiccup. Not a panic yet, but the kind of hiccup that tells your brain, start preparing some excuses in case we need to run real soon. You laugh softly to yourself, nervous, because none of this makes sense. And then the candle flares just once, as if someone blew across it gently. The flame leans toward the door, and that's when you notice it. The door is closed. You didn't close it. You never heard it close. But here you are, inside the forbidden tower room, with no footprints, a candle that burns itself, and a whisper in the walls that hasn't quite begun. But it will, because you're not the first to be in here. You're just the first in a long time who chose to stay. And now that you have, you might as well listen. There's a story the tower wants you to hear. It starts with a chest, one that's been locked for centuries, and somehow isn't anymore. Let's see what's inside. The chest isn't large, maybe the size of a footstool. It sits at the far corner of the room, half shrouded in shadow like it's trying to hide. You wouldn't have noticed it at first. Your eyes kept being pulled toward the candle, the window, the footprints that were and then weren't. But now that the flame dances lower, it casts its glow a little wider, and the chest comes into view. It's made of oak. Old, of course. Iron-banded, hand-forged, with a latch that doesn't look nearly as rusted as it should be. You crouch beside it, running your fingers along the surface. The wood is worn smooth by time and use, except there are no fingerprints, no dust disturbance, no obvious signs that anyone's opened it in years. So of course you open it. No creak, no groan. It lifts smoothly, like it's been oiled, like it was expecting you. Inside, parchments, neatly folded, stacked with eerie precision, and bound by faded ribbon that looks more red than it should. Not red like ink, red like rust, or blood that's gotten old enough to turn that dull, tired brown. You lift the top one, carefully. It's brittle but intact, written in a hand so delicate you almost feel guilty for reading it. The ink is brown, and for a second you wonder if it's just age or something else. You've seen enough period dramas to suspect what kind of ink this might be, but you tell yourself it's walnut stain, because you're still trying to sleep tonight. You hold it to the candlelight. It begins like a diary. If I cannot sleep, perhaps I can at least confess. The nights are longer now. The candle returns every dusk. I no longer ask how. You keep reading. He came to the tower as a joke. A nobleman's son, young, too bold, eager to prove he feared no superstition. We warned him. The room doesn't take kindly to pride. Your fingers tighten slightly. Your eyes scan ahead. He lasted until the second hour past midnight. I heard the door lock behind him, though I was nowhere near. I heard his screams from behind the walls, and then I heard him again. But it wasn't his voice. Not really. You lower the page, eyes fixed on the fire. The candle crackles softly. It's the only sound now. Even your breathing feels like too much. You pull out another parchment. This one's darker. The edges look burnt. Simply says, he sleeps, but not alone. Cool. No nightmare fuel there at all. You smile nervously, mutter a curse under your breath, and place the letters back as you found them, except the one at the bottom. That one's different. It's newer, fresh ink. Says your name. Not someone who had your name. Not a name like yours. Your exact name. You don't even remember saying it aloud since entering the tower. You hadn't, had you? Underneath your name is a single question, written in the same fine hand. Will you stay? That's it. No date, no signature, just the invitation. And somehow that's the scariest part, because it doesn't feel like a threat. It feels like a hope, like something has waited a long time to ask you, and it wants an answer. You don't say anything. You just sit there, hand frozen around the letter. The air shifts. Again, not wind, just temperature. A subtle change, the kind that makes the hairs on your arms stand up even when you're wrapped in a hoodie and should be fine. Your eyes drift to the door, still closed. The handle hasn't moved, and yet, from the direction of the walls, you hear it again. The whisper. It's not a voice this time, not language, just the suggestion of syllables brushing past your ear. You can't shake the feeling that the words are there. If only you could listen hard enough. You think of radio static, old cassette tapes, the sound your TV made when you left it on AV1 for too long. That low buzz of something trying to say something, but you never gave it the attention it wanted. But now it has you, fully. You walk toward the far wall. The whispering is strongest there. The stone has shifted, ever so slightly. There's something behind it. You press your ear against the surface. Cold, rough, and then a knock. Once, twice, 3 times. Knock, knock, knock. From the other side. You don't knock back. You're not completely out of your mind. Yet, instead, you whisper, "Hello." Nothing. Then the knocking resumes, but it's not coming from the wall anymore. It's from the window. You turn quickly. There's someone standing just outside. Not on the ground. You're 3 stories up. The window has no ledge, no balcony, and yet the face is there, staring in, eyes wide, mouth open, like it's screaming, but you hear nothing. And then it fades, slowly, not vanishing, just melting into the glass, like steam on a mirror. You stumble back. Your heart's racing now. You can feel the pulse in your neck, in your teeth. You reach for the candle. It's almost gone. The flame dances weakly, but it's still holding on. You do the only thing that makes sense. You sit, right on the cold stone floor, chest beside you, window at your back, whispering all around, and the candle between your hands. You say your name aloud, just once, and wait. Nothing answers, but the candle flame suddenly strengthens, like it's pleased. And in the brief surge of light, you notice something scratched into the stone right below where the chest had been. 2 lines, a date, and a second name. Your name, and tomorrow's date, right? Well, that's fine. Everything's fine. No need to panic. Probably just a coincidence. Definitely doesn't mean the room knew you were coming. You laugh softly, trying to convince yourself this is just a dream. One of those vivid ones your brain cooks up after midnight snacks and too much medieval YouTube content. Still, you check your phone. The screen is black, dead. You didn't even notice it fade. You're alone, you think. Somewhere behind the walls, the whispering continues, and the candle burns just a little brighter. Time to settle in. After all, you still haven't found out what the room is waiting for. But you will. Just don't fall asleep yet. Not until we find out what happened to the last person who tried. The stone beneath you is colder now. That kind of deep cold that seeps through clothing, through your skin, straight to bone. But you don't stand. Something about this room makes movement feel noticed, like every shuffle or sigh or creak of a knee is being listened to. So you stay perfectly still, candle in hand, eyes locked on the scratch in the stone. Tomorrow's date, your name, no explanation, just the marking. You try to laugh it off. This is just a prank. You whisper to no one. Historical Airbnb horror edition. But your voice sounds wrong in here. too loud, too alone. You glance around again. Same tower walls, same faded banners along the beams above, same iron hook hanging from the ceiling like someone once meant to raise something heavy, or lower something. That's when you notice the tapestry. Not a large one, maybe the size of a blanket, pinned to the far side of the room. You didn't see it earlier because the candlelight hadn't stretched that far. But now it does. At first glance, it's a typical medieval weave, brown and gold, maybe once bright but now dulled by dust. But as you approach, you realize the scene it shows isn't a myth or a hunting party. No, it's this room. Your room. The same furniture. The same window. And standing in the middle, a figure in a white nightgown, holding a candle. Just like you. You lean in closer. The thread work is incredible. Every fold of fabric, every flicker of flame. And then you see it, the face. It's not woven. It's painted. The rest of the tapestry is textile, but the face of the figure, that's brushwork. Delicate, precise, with eyes wide open and mouth ever so slightly ajar. But what makes your stomach twist is that the face looks like yours. Not sort of like yours. Not artistically interpreted. Your jawline, your eyes, your exact crooked left eyebrow. It's you. You step back. Too fast. Your foot knocks the edge of the old chest, and the parchment slips out again. The one with your name. It lands face up. You don't pick it up this time. Instead, your eyes are drawn toward the ceiling. There's a trapdoor. Wooden. Narrow. Held shut by nothing but a rusted latch. And from below, almost invisible. You didn't notice it when you arrived. But now the candle flickers just right. And there it is, dead center of the ceiling, almost inviting. You stare. It stares back. And then softly, a creak. A soft, dragging creak from above. Not like footsteps. More like something heavy being pulled across the floorboards above you. There shouldn't be anything above you. The tower ends here. The roof is just beams and slate, right? The dragging stops. You wait. And then, a knock. Just one. Thunk. From the trapdoor. You whisper to yourself, "This is a dream. This is a dream. This is a dream." Because it has to be. But your body knows better. Your skin prickles. Your fingers tremble. Your knees ache to run, even if there's nowhere to go. And then the latch begins to move. Not all at once. Just a soft tick-tick-tick, like a child spinning a music box key. Deliberate, precise. Tick, 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 and then silence. The trapdoor doesn't open. It just waits, like it's letting you decide. Do you want to know what's up there, or not? Your fingers tighten around the candle. The flame bows and sways like it, too, is unsure. And then, from behind you, a voice. You weren't supposed to come. You spin. No one. But you heard it. Right in your ear. Not angry. Not surprised. Just tired. You weren't supposed to come. Like someone repeating an old truth they've said too many times to too many people. You edge back toward the center of the room, glancing up at the trapdoor. The latch is still. It never fell open. Whatever moved it, if anything did, has paused. The voice doesn't return, but something else does. The whispering. Not around you this time. Not from the walls. From inside the chest. Kneel slowly. Push the lid open again. The parchments are gone. Instead, a mirror. Polished. Brass-rimmed. Ancient. You lift it. Hold it to your face. Nothing strange at first, just you. Pale. Sleep-deprived. Understandably stressed. And then you blink. But your reflection doesn't. Your real eyes close. Your real hand moves. But the reflection stares back. Unmoving. And then it smiles. You don't. Your blood runs cold. Then the reflection raises a hand and points to the trapdoor. Your breath catches. The mirror slips from your hands and thuds softly onto the tapestried floor. Somehow it doesn't break. It simply lands face down, hiding the reflection that should not have been. You don't pick it up. Your eyes rise again to the ceiling, drawn to the trapdoor like a fish to a hook. Still closed, still quiet, but the latch is gone. Gone. Not opened, not undone. Just missing, as if it was never there to begin with. You tilt your head slightly. Maybe it's the angle. Maybe your mind is folding under the weight of too little sleep and too much imagination. Maybe, scratch, a sound behind the wall. Not the trapdoor this time. Behind the wall. A long, slow scratch, like nails or a blade dragged across wood. You back away from the wall instinctively. Follows you. The sound. The scratch. It trails behind the stone as you move around the room, like something tracking you from inside the wall, just inches beyond the surface. You press your hand against the cold stone. Silence. You remove it. Scratch. Okay. This is definitely not a dream. You crouch beside the chest, eyeing the mirror still lying there, face down, like a curse not yet triggered. You're not touching it again. Instead, you push the lid closed gently and sit on top of it, heart pounding like hooves on cobblestone. A draft moves through the room. There are no open windows, but something moves, something behind you. You feel the weight of eyes, right there, on your shoulder. Hot breath brushing the curve of your ear like steam from a kettle. You spin. Nothing. You spin again. Still nothing. Except the tapestry is changed. The figure is closer to the foreground now, still holding the candle, still looking terrified. But now, the trapdoor is open in the weave, and something is beginning to descend. It's not fully formed, just a hint of shape, a distortion in the threads, like whoever wove this tapestry had started stitching the next part of the story and stopped midway. Maybe they ran out of time. You take a trembling step back. The tapestry flutters slightly, as if breathing. You shouldn't be here. You feel it now, not fear exactly, but pressure, like the air itself is pushing you toward the door. But the door is gone. You whirl around, yes, where it should be. Stone wall, seamless, as if no door ever existed. You're trapped, inside a memory, or a warning, or something older. You sink down beside the bed, trying to catch your breath. The blanket is coarse, smells of dry herbs and ancient wood. There's a shape under the blanket. You pull it aside. A book, bound in soft leather, frayed along the edges. You open it carefully. No title, no introduction, just entries, written in different hands across decades. Heard scratching again tonight. It always starts behind the tapestry. Why does the mirror smile? I think the girl in the weave is trying to leave. The trapdoor opened last night. I pretended not to see. My name was on the parchment, just like the others. The entries go back centuries. You flip toward the end. One dated nearly 50 years ago. They sealed the tower, said it was a kindness. And then, if you're reading this, you've already been chosen. There's one final note at the bottom of the page, barely legible in a shaky scrawl. Don't look at the ceiling, which is, of course, exactly what you do. And there it is. The trapdoor is open. You can see the blackness inside now, pitch dark, like a well with no bottom, like a mouth waiting to swallow sound. You don't move. You don't breathe. You just listen. And from the black, open square above, something begins to speak. It doesn't use words. It uses your memories. You hear your childhood bedroom, the echo of your mother calling you to dinner, the way your dog's claws tapped on the tile, the chime of your phone. the scratch of a pencil, the hum of your favorite late-night show. It spills your entire life back at you in broken pieces, like someone rifling through your soul and playing clips on shuffle. And then it asks, without asking, a question. Will you let go? You don't answer. You don't know how. And the voice, your voice, not your voice, continues. Stay long enough and you'll forget the difference between you and her, between you and the figure in the tapestry, between you and me. You glance toward the mirror on the floor. It has flipped itself back over. Your reflection is standing. You are not. And it smiles again. You don't scream, not because you're brave, but because you can't. The sound is frozen in your throat like a bird trapped behind glass. The reflection continues to smile, gentle, serene, parody of peace. Its lips move slightly, but there's no sound. Only the rustle of the tapestry behind you and the quiet, relentless wind breathing from the open trapdoor above. You close your eyes. You're not asleep. You're not dreaming. But you tell yourself, if you pretend hard enough, maybe the tower will pretend too. Maybe it will let you go. But it doesn't. Instead, when you open your eyes again, the room is no longer empty. There's someone sitting at the desk, back turned to you, writing. The quill moves slowly, dipping into an inkwell that wasn't there before. The figure's shoulders are wrapped in a dark woolen cloak, the hood drawn up. You can't see their face, but they're mouthing the same words you're thinking. Not just the same language, the same words. You take a step forward. They stop writing. The silence in the room turns heavy, like wet velvet pressing against your skin. Then the figure speaks. You made it farther than most. Their voice is a whisper soaked in dust, older than the stone walls. Yet it sounds eerily like you. You try to respond, but again, no sound comes. They stand up slowly, turn, and you see, they have your face, but not the one in the mirror. This one is older, paler, drawn, hollow around the eyes, a version of you that never left this room. They don't look angry or afraid. They look resigned. We all thought we were just visiting, just exploring, just curious. They glance toward the open trapdoor above. But this place doesn't need curiosity. It needs memory. It feeds on it. They step closer. You don't move. You can't. The tapestry is not a story. It's a cage. They're only a few feet away now. Every time someone looks at her, she moves closer. Every time someone wonders what happened, she becomes what's happening. They raise a hand toward your face, not to touch, but to show. Their palm bears a small, circular mark, pulses gently, the mark of the named. You glance down at your own hand. It's there. You never noticed it appear. You're already woven in. Behind them, the tapestry shifts again. The candle figure is gone. In her place, you, standing, looking at the bed, at the mirror, at the parchment, exactly what you did, thread for thread. You are the story now. The figure, your other self, steps back, returns to the desk, begins to write again. It won't let you warn them, they say softly. The next one who finds this place, they'll see your words, sure, but they'll think it's fiction, like you did. They don't look at you again. You hear the quill scratching the parchment. You glance down and realize there's a book in your hands now, the same one, but every page is blank, except the first, section 5. This is where you start forgetting. And the final line, write quickly. You sink into the chair. The trapdoor above closes silently. The wind stops. Somewhere far below, a bell tolls once. Deep, sonorous, lonely. And then, footsteps, stone on stone. Someone is climbing the stairs. You turn your head sharply, But it's no use. There is no door. But the footsteps keep rising. And with every step, the candle in the tapestry flickers again, this time held by you. And you're not standing still. You're walking toward the edge of the weave. Closer, closer. You blink and she's no longer stitched. She's standing beside the bed. And she is so familiar. You remember her now. She was in the margins of the old manuscripts you studied once, wasn't she? A figure used to mark danger. A medieval superstition. The watcher who waits. But she never had a name. Until now. You do, after all. You hear your voice again. Not from your throat, but from her mouth. You've always been here. The mirror reflects her face. And yours. And the room. And the story. All one and the same. The footsteps stop. Not with hesitation, but with purpose. Whoever or whatever was climbing the tower staircase has arrived. At the bottom of your mind. You sit frozen in the chair, the heavy book in your lap, your fingers already smudged with ink you don't remember using. The page in front of you seems to breathe, not flutter, breathe, expanding and collapsing, like lungs stitched from parchment. You turn your head slowly toward the trapdoor in the ceiling, still sealed shut. No noise now, just the candle flame beside you, tall and still and perfectly silent. You tell yourself it was just your imagination. But your imagination doesn't leave wet footprints on cold stone. And you can smell it now. Lanolin, dust, and lavender. Not fresh, not from a flower bed. The kind of lavender used to cover decay. You don't want to look at the tapestry. You do anyway. The woven figure of you is gone again. She's walking, candle raised. The halls look older around her now, or maybe more detailed. It's hard to tell. At her feet, tiny white bones are scattered in the threadwork. Don't follow. A voice rasps behind your eyes. You blink. The writing desk is empty again. The quill floats an inch above the inkpot, trembling as though gripped by an invisible hand. And then it plunges downward, writing by itself. You lean forward slowly. The words appear, line by line. She left in the winter of 1329. Said she heard music from the top of the tower. Said it called her by name. You feel your pulse skip. You've read this handwriting before. You saw it scratched on the underside of a wooden bed frame in a crumbling abbey ruin last summer. A monk's final note before disappearing. That's impossible, isn't it? Another line appears. I tried to bar the door, but the tower has more than one. You glance up. The wall opposite the bed. A seam has appeared. A door. Thin, crooked, breathing like the page in your lap. It wasn't there a moment ago. You don't want to go through, but you already are. Your legs move without asking your permission. You place the heavy book on the desk, though it tries to cling to your fingers. You murmur an apology, because that's what you do when you leave behind a part of yourself. The door opens before you can touch it, and the world beyond it is not new, not alien, remembered. Stone corridors lit by wall sconces burning with colorless flame. Every corner holds something you've dreamed before, but can't quite place. A hallway shaped like the back of your grandmother's attic. A column wrapped in iron vines that remind you of a storybook you read at 5. A sound like your own laugh played in reverse. You walk. The corridor stretches, tightens, warps. But it's not confusing, because the tower doesn't twist to confuse. It twists to match, to fit you. You begin to understand. This tower doesn't hold stories. It holds people who became stories. You touch the wall. It's warm, pulsing slightly, like it's trying to remember you too. There are names etched faintly into the stone. Dozens. Some crossed out. Some erased entirely. but your finger rests on one. Adelin candle bearer. And underneath, the ninth dreamer. You don't know what it means, but your name is not far below. Fainter, almost forming. You turn a corner, and there she is, the candle bearer, waiting. She holds out the taper to you, but her face is yours, not twisted or aged or ghostly, just tired, as though she's been walking these halls for centuries, trying to find a way back to a story that never ends. You take the candle, because of course you do. It's warm in your hand. The flame flickers blue for a moment, then steadies, and everything vanishes. The tapestry, the desk, the door. You're standing in the middle of the room again, alone. Only the candle remains, this flame casting your shadow. But your shadow isn't still. It's walking, away from you, and it doesn't look back. You don't move. You can't. Your shadow is gliding silently toward the wall, yet there is no light strong enough in this room to cast it that far. It stretches across the stones like ink spilled in reverse, climbing upward until it vanishes into a crack in the mortar. That crack wasn't there before. None of this was. You exhale, finally, and your breath comes out shaky, visible, like fog on a winter's window. The candle is still in your hand. This wax hasn't dripped once. The flame flickers gently but doesn't consume the wick. It just burns patiently, watching. You take a step. Stone beneath your feet, cold and uneven. You whisper aloud, to no one, "Is it morning yet?" The room answers with silence. Except, no, not quite silence. A slow drip, drip, drip from somewhere above. The trapdoor, still sealed, yes, but you can see moisture now forming along the edges. You crane your neck, and for the first time you notice something. Moss. Fresh, green moss. Around the wooden frame. A type that doesn't grow in castles. A type you've only seen in bogs. You swallow hard. You don't remember there being a bog anywhere near this place. You lift the candle higher. The tapestry has changed again. The figure is back. But this time, she's not alone. Another woven shape stands behind her. Featureless. Black, like thread soaked in ink and stiffened in place. It has no eyes, but somehow it watches you. In her hand, the candle. In its hand, a single silver key. You blink. A memory nudges at you. Something from a book you read long ago about medieval superstitions. About the practice of locking the soul of the dead inside a room to prevent their ghost from escaping. They would hang the key above the bed, or bury it under the floorboards. Sometimes they would stitch it into the lining of a cloak. You suddenly feel very aware of your own clothing. You run your fingers along the seams of your sleeve. Nothing. Then your collar. There. Tiny lump. Sewn inside the fabric. You carefully rip a stitch and pull free a small, tarnished iron key. It's cold. You don't remember putting it there. And yet, it feels like it's been with you for a long time. You glance around the room, scanning for a lock. Any lock. None. Except the candle flickers toward the mirror on the far side of the room. You hadn't looked into it until now. Your reflection holds the candle exactly as you do. But it is not you. Its clothes are wrong, richer, older. 14th century by the cut. Woolen overdress, deep burgundy. Hair braided in a style you don't know. The reflection doesn't blink when you do. It doesn't move at all, until it smiles, just slightly, and points. You turn. Behind you, a small cabinet has appeared in the stone wall. No bigger than a jewelry box. There's a lock. Your hand moves on instinct. The key fits, clicks. Inside the cabinet, a folded piece of parchment and a small glass bottle with something murky swirling inside. The note reads, "To dream safely, you must leave your name behind. Write it, seal it, sleep deep. Your name." You hesitate, and this is where the tower traps most people. Not with monsters or magic or screams in the night, with choice, because the bottle, it isn't for ink. It's for you, to drink. Your fingers tremble as you uncork it. The liquid smells like honey and iron. And lavender, always lavender. Your reflection watches, smiling wider. The candle waits. You dip the quill in the bottle. Write your name on the parchment. And before you know it, you're drinking. The warmth hits your chest like a lullaby and a warning all at once. Your limbs go soft. You try to stand, but you're already falling backward onto the bed, which wasn't there a moment ago. The candle sets itself on the windowsill. The flame burns blue. The ceiling begins to ripple. And from somewhere, faint and distant, you hear music. Not haunting, not cheerful, just inevitable, as if it's been waiting for you to close your eyes. And when you do, the final thing you see is the tapestry. Empty. She's gone again. And now the room waits for the next dreamer. You wake up with dust in your mouth. It's dry parchment dry. Your tongue feels like it's been coated in flour or maybe ash. You sit up fast, gagging, and immediately regret it. Your head pounds with the weight of a cathedral bell, as if something huge and iron has just rung between your ears. You're not in the bed anymore. In fact, you're not even sure there ever was a bed. The candle is gone. The cabinet is gone. The mirror is still there. Only now it's covered with a heavy velvet cloth, deep purple, like mourning drapery. You swear it wasn't there before. But this room isn't big enough for things to move without you noticing. Is it? Your body aches. Your limbs feel older, worn. You stumble to your feet and catch your reflection in the window instead. Murky, curved glass that distorts everything. You look wrong, a little too tall, a little too pale. And your eyes. No, that's not you at all. You turn away quickly, heart drumming against your ribs. The trapdoor above you has opened. Just a crack, enough to let in the thinnest sliver of light. But that light isn't white. It's gray, like moonlight strained through fog. And with it comes a sound, soft, rhythmic, unmistakable. Breathing. Someone or something is breathing just above the trapdoor. Not moving, just listening. You don't call out. You're not sure what name you'd even use now. The moment you drank from the bottle and wrote your name on that parchment, something shifted. You remember the warning. To dream safely, you must leave your name behind. Did you? Or did you carry part of it with you? You glance around the room, looking for the parchment. It's not there. Neither is the bottle. Neither is the key. In their place on the floor sits a single black feather. Not a quill, just a feather. You bend down slowly, pick it up. It's warm, still warm. And as you hold it in your hand, you hear it. A whisper, faint, female. You shouldn't be awake. The feather dissolves between your fingers, and the room exhales. Literally. The stone walls around you pulse, almost imperceptibly, like lungs. The mortar between them is damp again. The moss has spread. The tapestry has returned, but now it's torn. Ripped across the bottom, the threads dangling like roots pulled from earth. This time, the woman is looking directly at you, eyes stitched in a glinting silver thread that wasn't there before. Beneath her feet, the words, "Sleep is the door, but waking is the key." You read it again, then a third time, and just as the message begins to settle in your mind like silt in a well, you hear the latch. Click. The trapdoor swings fully open, not with a bang, with a soft, deliberate creak. And for the first time since entering this tower room, you are not alone. A hand descends from the opening, thin, almost skeletal, fingers long and stiff as dried branches. You do not see the rest of the body, just that hand open-palmed, waiting. You should run. You know that, but your feet move forward anyway. Your heart pounds not with fear, but with a weird, aching familiarity, as if you've done this before, not in a dream, but in another life, or perhaps in this one. The hand doesn't grab you, simply waits. You reach up. The air between your palm and the hand above is charged, like the moment before lightning strikes, or a secret is spoken aloud. And when you finally make contact, you don't feel cold. You feel recognition, like shaking hands with your shadow. Everything goes dark again. But this time, you hear something as you fall. The soft chant of monks in Latin, a phrase repeating, over and over, Custodi somnium, Claude portam, guard the dream, close the door. And just before the silence swallows you whole, you wonder, who closed the door last time? And what if they didn't? You land gently, not with a jolt or a thud, but like a feather drifting down to rest on old stone. For a moment, you think you've gone blind. The dark is so thick it feels like velvet pressed to your eyes. But then, something glows, faint, blue, phosphorescent, like lichen in an ancient cave. You're lying on what seems to be a tiled floor, arranged in concentric circles. Each tile bears a different sigil, carvings of beasts, suns, spirals, and what looks like a keyhole. You sit up. The space you're in now is massive. You can't see walls, only columns, stone pillars, dozens of them, vanishing upward into blackness. You're underground, deep, deep underground. And in the middle of this crypt or cathedral or whatever it is, stands the tower room. Yes, the tower room, just sitting there like someone picked it up and dropped it inside a cathedral. Stone for stone identical. You even see the little arched window, glowing faintly. But here's the twist. The tower room is locked from the outside. Thick iron chains wrap around it like a spider's web. At least 7 locks, massive ones, seal the door shut. And just beneath the first lock, a plaque. No entry after the 5th bell. What bell? Where? As if in answer, a deep, sonorous bong echoes through the air. 1. Your ears ring from the force of it. That was close. Too close. You glance around. On your left, an aisle of statues, hooded figures, all facing the tower room. Their faces are blank, but their hands are raised, as if in warning or prayer. On your right, shelves. Endless shelves carved directly into the stone. And they're filled not with books, but with teeth. Labeled jars. Big ones, small ones. Some cracked, some pristine, some filed to tiny points. You back away from them instinctively, the hair on your arms standing up like a battalion. Then you notice the floor again. Each tile now glows a little brighter. And every time you step, the sigil beneath your foot flickers, like it's responding, testing you. Don't step on the keyhole tiles, says a voice. You spin around. There's a boy standing behind you, maybe 10 years old, dressed in what looks like a monk's habit cut for a child, the fabric dusty and moth-eaten. His eyes are far too old for his face. Sorry, he says, not sounding sorry at all. I was the last one in. In what? The room. You glance back at the chain door. You went in? You ask. Not alone, he replies. Never alone. Another bong. 2. The boy flinches. They're getting closer. Who? He doesn't answer. Instead, he pulls a small brass object from his sleeve and hands it to you. A bell. Tiny. No bigger than your thumb. engraved with intricate runes and bound in frayed red twine. "Don't ring it," he warns. "Not unless you're really, really sure." Sure of what? But the boy's already gone. No footsteps, no flash, just vanished. You turn the bell over in your hand. The runes are unlike anything you've seen before, half letters, half insect. The metal feels warm. Too warm. Bong. 3. You walk, carefully now, avoiding the keyhole tiles. With each step, the air feels thicker, like it's pushing back. You're reminded of wading through deep water, or a childhood nightmare of walking through syrup. As you move closer to the tower room, the statues seem to shift. You could swear they weren't in the same positions a minute ago. And now their blank faces are slightly tilted toward you, watching. You pick up the pace. The fourth bell hits like a blow to the chest. Bong. Everything vibrates. Dust rains from above. One of the jars shatters on the shelf, and 100 tiny baby teeth scatter across the floor like hailstones. You reach the door. All 7 locks pulse with blue light. None have keyholes, only tiny circular indents, about the size of... You freeze. You look at the bell. The handle is slightly pointed. You press it into the first indent. Click. The chain binding that lock falls away. 6 more to go. You hesitate. Your hand trembles. Then the final bong echoes out. 5. You expected chaos, but instead, silence. Total. Your ears ring in its absence. The very ground seems to wait. Then, from deep behind the tower room door, you hear it knocking. Once, twice, then a slow scratching sound, and a voice, whispering, familiar, terrifyingly familiar. It's your own. "Let me out. I'm ready now. But you're right here. Aren't you? Aren't you?" Your voice whispers again. "Let me out. I remember everything now." You stagger back from the door. Your breath comes in short bursts, shallow and fast. It's not panic. It's something older, instinctual, ancestral. You shouldn't be here. No one should. But the tower room, it hums, low and steady, like a far-off cathedral organ holding a single note. Pulses through your bones, and somewhere inside you, a part begins to stir, like a memory you're not sure is yours. You glance down at the little bell in your hand. It's glowing now, dim but definite. That soft red twine pulses with the rhythm of the room. You're not sure why you do it. Maybe it's curiosity. Maybe it's something worse. But you place the bell's handle into the second lock. Click. Another chain falls away, slithering to the floor like a metal serpent. You wait. Nothing happens. Then a sound behind you. Footsteps. Deliberate. Slow. Not one set, many. At least a dozen, echoing from all directions. You spin, heart pounding. But there's no one there. Only the statues. Except now they're closer. Much closer. And one is missing. A blank patch where it used to stand. You back into the door. The voice whispers again, behind the wood and iron and time. "You left me. You made me wait. But I'm still you." Your mouth goes dry. This isn't a haunting. It's a reflection. Somewhere in this crypt, this impossible underground cathedral is a version of you. One that stayed behind. One that entered this room. And whatever they found, it didn't let go. You look down. 5 locks remain. You shouldn't open them. You know that. But this place bends logic. It's not about should. It's about what will happen. And you will open them. Because that's what this place does. It makes you remember. You move again, mechanically, placing the bell into the third lock. Click. The lock clangs open. 3 left. The light in the room shifts. The columns that stretch into darkness above seem to warp and tilt inward, like they're leaning closer, watching, and from somewhere high above, a drip echoes down. Water? No, blood. Just a single drop, red and warm, lands on your cheek. You wipe it away. Another drop lands on your arm. You look up, squinting into the void, and see eyes, dozens of them, not glowing, not human, watching, blinking in slow, asynchronous rhythms. You don't have long. You reach forward, press the bell into the fourth lock. Click. The chains shudder. One of the shelves collapses nearby with a crash, scattering jars, and something pale and slithering drops to the floor before vanishing into a crack between tiles. You don't follow it with your eyes. You keep going. The fifth lock. You hesitate here because the bell feels heavier, hotter, like it's resisting, or maybe warning you. You grip it harder, press it forward. Click. The chain falls. Now only two remain. The whispering behind the door grows louder now, more confident. You never finished what we started, but I did. Then another sound. From behind. Breathing. Wet. Close. You turn slowly and find yourself standing at the end of the hallway, but not quite. A version of you, your face, your clothes, your stance. Except the eyes are wrong, pupil-less, mouth stretched too wide, too long, and hanging from its neck is a second bell, identical to yours. It raises one hand, points at you, then the mouth splits open and utters a single word. Come. You don't move, but something inside you does. Piece of your memory, a flicker from the dream before, a night years ago when you were 7. You had a nightmare about a door with no handle. You tried to open it, but just before you did, you heard your own voice tell you, "Don't. That was here. That was this." You shake your head. "No," you whisper. "Not again." And for a moment, just a moment, the vision shimmers. The figure of you at the end of the hall begins to glitch, like a VHS tracking error. Lines of static run through its limbs. The mouth closes. The smile fades. You press the bell into the sixth lock. Click. And now the final chain remains. The room falls silent. No breathing. No bells. No voice. Just you. And the final lock. You grip the bell, now burning hot in your palm. Your fingers smoke, but you don't let go. Because you have to know. What's inside? Who's inside? Why this tower never let anyone sleep? You raise the bell to the final indentation. Then, just before it connects, someone whispers from beside your ear, "If you open that door, you won't walk out." You turn, and standing beside you is her, the girl from the field, the one who vanished through the wall. She's older now, maybe 16. Same eyes, same sadness, same tear along her collar, and in her hand, a mirror, tiny, cracked. She lifts it, shows you your reflection, and for a heartbeat, what you see isn't human. You recoil. The image in the mirror lingers in your vision, burning itself into the backs of your eyes. Your face, but not your face. Elongated, hollow, black veins blooming across your skin like roots through stone. And in the center of your forehead, faint but unmistakable, a sigil, carved, not painted. You blink and it's gone. The girl lowers the mirror, her expression unreadable. "You don't have to finish it," she whispers. "You were never supposed to." But the bell, it calls to you now, not just as an object, as a part of you. You step back from the final lock, unsure for the first time if continuing is choice or inevitability. She places her hand over yours, the one holding the bell. It cools. The burning stops. You can feel your heartbeat again. but her grip tightens, and her voice drops to something ancient, something not entirely hers. If you wake what sleeps behind this door, it will not stop at you. It will not stop at night. It will not stop. You try to speak, but your throat is tight. There's a weight in your chest, like you've just remembered every nightmare you've ever had all at once. And you know she's right. Whatever is behind this door isn't meant to be woken. You look at the lock, then at the chain, then slowly you lower the bell. The hum in the room, ever present since you entered, wavers, it flickers, and then it stops. The silence is overwhelming, more than the absence of sound and absence of presence. Like the room itself is holding its breath. You let go of the bell, and for a second, it vanishes, just disappears. Your hand is empty. The final lock fades from view, and the door, it doesn't open. It dissolves into dust, into air, into memory. Beyond it, there's no room, no chamber, only void, an infinite blackness, alive and not alive, folding inward and outward at once. And in the center, a cradle, stone, cracked, empty. The girl beside you stares into it, her lips moving without sound. And then you both hear it, a distant, rhythmic sound, not a heartbeat, a lullaby, coming from inside the cradle, soft, familiar, something your mother used to hum when she thought you were asleep. You feel your knees go weak. You're inside the song, or it's inside you. The girl whispers, they kept it asleep with names, with bells, with fear, but now you've remembered. You nod, without knowing why, and the void shifts, flickers, then disappears. The door returns, closed, as if it never moved. The lock's intact, the bell gone. You're standing in an empty room, dust and stone, no altar, no statues, just quiet. And on the ground before you, drawn in faint white chalk, a symbol, the same as the one you saw in your reflection. Except this time, it's incomplete. One stroke missing, one final line. You step forward, raise your hand, not because you want to, because it's what comes next. And just as your finger touches the edge of the chalk, a voice booms behind you. Wake up! You're on the floor, back in your own room, bedroll beneath you, the candle long melted, the bell gone, the tower silent, for now, but in your palm still warm, a smear of white chalk, and in your ear, just beneath the edge of sleep, that same lullaby, soft, waiting. The next morning feels wrong, not eerie, just out of joint, as if time skipped a step during the night. You stretch, blinking against the dim light filtering through the narrow tower slit. Outside, the village is unusually quiet. No children playing, no distant carts, no bell tolling the hour. You sit up. That's when you notice. The door is open, not the forbidden one, your own. And on the threshold, neatly folded, lies your cloak, freshly laundered. You didn't wash it. You definitely didn't leave the door open. You step out into the corridor, heart already picking up speed. The air smells different, like lavender and old paper. You hear something soft brushing across the floor below. Someone's sweeping. That shouldn't be happening. This tower was abandoned. You creep down the stairs. 1 floor, 2. The noise stops. You reach the landing below and freeze. There, in the middle of the hall, stands a broom, just standing upright, no one holding it. You inch forward, touch it, warm. You set it gently down. That's when you hear it. A small bell tinkling softly, not in the tower, not even nearby. From inside your ear, your balance sways. The world tilts, then rights itself. You look around. Nothing has changed, but something has. You feel observed. You bolt down the last set of stairs, hoping for sunlight, noise, anything real. But when you reach the bottom, you stop cold. The front door is chained shut, heavier than before. 3 new locks, and across the wood, scorched deep into the grain, a symbol, the one from the mirror, the one you almost completed. You back away, breath quickening. The room is spinning again. That same sense from the forbidden chamber, like the towers breathing around you. You run, not upward sideways. There's another hall you haven't explored yet. One with smaller rooms, cells maybe. You try each door. Locked, all but one. Inside is dust, an old cot, and a table with parchment still on it. You pick it up. It's a letter, written in a shaky hand. To the next dreamer, do not ring the bell twice. Do not draw the full mark. The tower is a heart. The locks are ribs. The song is its breath. If you're reading this, it has already seen you. At the bottom, a name you recognize. It was carved into the altar upstairs. Same person, same hand, same message. Don't continue. But you already have. You sit down hard on the cot. Try to breathe. Try to remember what day it is, how long you've been here, and why you feel like you've never left. Your fingers itch again. You glance down. They're barely visible chalk dust beneath your nails. Even though you never drew the mark. Did you? You remember lifting your hand, touching the floor, but everything else is fog. Outside the room, the broom falls with a crash. You jump, and then silence. Again, thicker this time, almost pressing against your eardrums. A silence shaped like something waiting to speak. And just before you can run, the lullaby returns. This time not from inside your head, but from the hallway. A soft voice, a girl's voice, singing, "Hush thee now, the locks are tight. Dream the door and sleep the night. If you knock, it won't be you. That wakes when morning brings the dew." You step out. The corridor is empty, but on the wall opposite the cell, smeared in something dark and sticky, the final line of the sigil. You didn't draw it, but it's there now, and it's bleeding. You want to scream, but that would mean something heard you. Instead, you stagger backward into the cell, slam the door, and shove the table against it, like that could stop whatever wrote on the wall. The lullaby lingers, not in sound, now in memory. You hum the melody without meaning to, like it's stuck to your ribs. You hold your breath, but even that feels borrowed. Eventually, the silence returns to a dull hum. You step out again. The hallway is unchanged. The writing on the wall has dried, like old rust. You move toward it, touch it. It's not blood, not ink. It flakes like pollen. Your fingers tingle. You head upstairs, not to the forbidden door. You avoid that one now with a kind of reverence. No, this time you return to the chapel room. You don't know why, but when you enter, your breath catches. It's been cleaned. The soot is gone. The altar polished. The crushed candle wax scraped neatly into little piles. And on the center of the altar, fresh lavender. Not the kind you picked. Fresh, recently placed. You approach. The bell is gone. The mirror is gone. In their place is a book. You didn't see it before. It's thin, bound in faded leather. The title is barely legible. Dreamers of the Tower, record number 5. You sit on the floor beside it, spine cold against the stone. You open the book. Page 1. Name, space left blank. Date of entry, your date. Observations. He responds to dreams with resistance. Shows signs of recall from previous cycles. Mark partially drawn in sleep. Containment is weakening. You slam it shut. The room spins again. You've read your own logbook. You're a subject, a repeat. You fumble through the pages, entry after entry, different dates, different names, some scratched out violently. One entry ends mid-sentence. She heard the bell twice. She opened the... Nothing more. You try to tear the page out, but it won't rip. You try to burn it, but your match dies in your hand. You throw the book across the room. It hits the wall with a soft thud and opens itself to a blank page. Your fingers move before you realize. You reach into your pocket. There's a quill. You didn't put it there. You write, "He doesn't want to sleep anymore." The words soak in instantly, as though they'd already been there. And underneath them, new text blooms up like bruises on skin. Then he must awaken. You run, past the stairs, past the hall with the broom, past the locked front door, back up all the way this time to the forbidden door. It's closed again. No light under the frame, but a smell. Not rot, not lavender. Something warm, like skin just cooled from fever. You raise your hand. Knock once. The sound doesn't echo. It absorbs. The door opens. Not slowly, not dramatically. It just is. Inside, darkness, but soft. A kind of darkness that whispers you're already here. You step through, and it doesn't feel like walking. Feels like sinking. No gravity, no walls. Just a shape around your body like the memory of a blanket. And then, a voice. Female. Calm. Unblinking. You found your way back. Again. That's rare. You try to speak, but your throat locks. She continues. You should not have written. That makes it real. You shake your head. She smiles. You can't see her, but you feel the smile. The bell calls the next. The mark opens the door. The name completes the record. And you were doing so well at forgetting. You scream, this time out loud. But it's not your voice that answers back. It's dozens. All yours. All different. All calling from around the walls. Don't let her finish the page. Burn the mark. She's not real, you are. And one softest of all. Sleep now. It won't hurt this time. You fall. Not to the ground. To memory. To something before all this. A bed. A bell. A name you forgot. Your own. You jerk upright. Your body's ice cold. As if someone siphoned all the warmth out of you. There's no room. No woman's voice. No book. Just you, alone, on the cold stone floor of the ground level, not far from where the broom leans against the wall. The tower is silent. No bells. No light. Only your heart hammering so hard it aches in your chest. You rise. Every joint in your body cracks like it's been disassembled and forced back together. You can't remember if you went into the forbidden room or not. You can't even tell if you dreamed or if you just remembered something. Your hand is clenched tightly around something. You open your fingers. It's the bell. Not the great iron one from the chapel. The wrist bell, the one you lost last night. And the leather strap is fastened around your wrist, snug as if it had never come off. You didn't put it back on. You didn't do anything. But it's here. And something clicks in your brain. You can't leave this place. Because maybe you never really entered it. You didn't break into the tower. You belong to it. You shuffle toward the kitchen, the place where that herbal scent lingered before. The door is still ajar. The room inside is messy. Copper pots, strings of garlic and onions dangling from overhead, and a scrap of parchment stuck to the wall. Pasted there with dried blood? You read, "The one who wears the bell must not sleep near the marked. If both dream, the door will open. If the door opens, no one may write. If anyone writes, memory returns. And if they remember, it all begins again. You step back, knocking into a wooden shelf. Your head spins, flashes of yourself, but not your current self, sitting by the hearth, a book in hand. You're wearing monk's robes. You're writing. A logbook. Record number 3. You were once the one who recorded the dreams. You were once the one who kept the door forever closed. And then you forgot. Probably because you were forced to forget. The dream isn't just a memory. It's a system. Each person is a cog. And when one cog remembers, the whole machine starts up again. You run back to the library, searching for the book. It's gone. You glance at the mirror. No reflection. You touch your neck. A small raised bump, like where a necklace used to be. You lift your shirt. There's a dark stain on your chest. A black ink mark. It's an open tower door. You've been marked. You're no longer just the one who wears the bell. You've changed roles. You're now the dreamer. You're the one who remembers. And by the rules, if you both dream and remember, you become the door itself. You tear the parchment from the wall, crumple it, and shove it into your pocket. Your footsteps grow lighter, too light, not because you're alert, because you're slipping out of reality. The rooms shimmer, distort. The kitchen leads to the chapel. The chapel leads to the library. Stairs spiral endlessly. No more floors, just a looping echo of yourself. You shout, "Is anyone there?" And a voice responds, "How many times have you asked that?" You freeze. That wasn't an echo. That was you, answering yourself from somewhere deeper. You touch the wall. Feels like human skin. You jerk your hand back. A faint line of writing appears, as if ink is rising beneath flesh. 3 more steps. Then you must choose. Sleep forever, or stay awake forever. And you're no longer sure which one is worse. The stairs spiral, but not upward. They coil inward, like a snail shell tightening around your spine. Each step you take feels heavier than the last. Not in your legs, but in your thoughts. Like memories are clinging to your ankles, whispering to stay behind. There's no light now, no torches, no glow from a moon, just that faint pressure behind your eyes, guiding you like an invisible string tugging from inside your skull. And then you hear it again, the woman's voice, but not ahead of you, behind you. You weren't supposed to come this far. Her voice is dry now, brittle, as though spoken through cracked lips that haven't moved in centuries. You whirl around. Nothing, only stone, and the sound of your own breathing shaking through your nose. And then, impossibly, you smell cherry blossoms. In this place, where no sun shines, where no wind blows, you turn again, and suddenly the spiral staircase opens. You step into a chamber, no torches, yet it glows, like fireflies caught beneath glass. And at the center, resting on a stone pedestal carved with indecipherable runes, is a book. But not just any book. Your book, the one from the dream, or the memory, or maybe both. You walk toward it. Each step echoes not in the room but in your chest. A low boom boom, boom boom, like a second heartbeat. When you reach the pedestal, you see it. Your name, or rather, the name you forgot. It's not in English, not in Latin. It's in a language you suddenly understand. A name that means, the one who keeps the door. You open the book. Pages turn themselves, fluttering like wings. They stop at a blank page. Ink begins to rise. A sentence appears. You are the 41st. You blink. Then another line. The last 40 remembered too late. You run your hand down the page. Warm, almost pulsing. A third line appears. You still have time. Suddenly a sound, thump, stone scraping against stone. From behind the pedestal, a panel shifts open. You don't question it, because somehow you knew it would happen. You descend again. The staircase is narrow now, barely wide enough for your shoulders. And the walls, they aren't stone anymore. They're covered in cloth. Heavy tapestries embroidered with eyes. Hundreds of them, all closed, except one. Just one. Open. Unblinking. And it follows you as you pass. Not physically, but inside your head. It's looking through your thoughts. You try to count your steps. Anything to stay grounded. 1, 2, 3, 4. But the numbers blur. Slip sideways. By the time you stop counting, you're no longer on stairs. You're in a bedroom. Familiar. Stone walls. A narrow bed. A small bell on the nightstand. You've been here before, but it's not the same, because lying in the bed is you, pale, still, sleeping, and on your wrist, the leather strap, the bell. You approach slowly. Your sleeping self doesn't stir. You look closer. No breath, no movement. And just as you think it's a body, just a memory, it gasps. I shoot open. And your voice, your real voice screams, "Don't wake up." But it's too late. The other you sits up, bell jangling softly. The walls melt. Tapestries burn. The ceiling vanishes. And you're both standing back in the tower library. Two of you, one holding the book, one holding the bell. And then you speak in unison. We remember. And that's when the entire tower shudders. Not from outside, but from inside your mind. The room splits into dozens of mirrored copies, each one showing a version of you as a monk, a soldier, peasant, a child, a ghost. And every version is wearing the bell. Every version is awake. You look down at your hands. They're not your hands anymore. They're ink. You are being rewritten, and you don't know who's doing it. All you can do now is run. You grab the book and sprint for the nearest mirror. It shimmers like water. You dive through, and everything goes black. No sound, no breath, no memory, just a single word, whispered in your own voice, from somewhere far away. Door. There's no floor beneath you. No ceiling above, only fog, thick, slow-moving, and cold like wet silk on your face. You're suspended in it, weightless, as if falling in a dream where nothing ever lands. Somewhere in the distance, a bell chimes, not the jingle of warning you wore on your wrist. This one is deeper, older, hung in a cathedral that may no longer exist. Tolls once, and the fog responds. It pulls back, slowly unraveling to reveal what lies beneath. A village, medieval but wrong. Roofs curve where they should be straight. Windows blink, and the shadows cast by chimneys stretch the wrong way, chasing the sun. You're standing at the top of a small ridge now, overlooking the town. There's a gate at the far end, an arch of knotted wood and bones, beyond which the tower you escaped from looms taller than ever. You've made a circle, but not the same circle, because something is missing. No people, no sound of chickens, no carts rumbling over cobbles, just silence so dense it feels like you could chew it. And then you notice it. At the center of the square, a well, old, round, rimmed with black moss. And around the well, carved into the stones, is the same phrase from the book. You are the 41st. Except this time it's been scratched out. Underneath, another line has been etched in jagged, hurried strokes. You were not supposed to return. You approach the well. Your footsteps echo louder than they should, like boots in a cathedral. As you peer inside, your stomach lurches. Not from fear exactly, but from recognition. Because at the bottom of the well, you see your reflection. Not just one, dozens, maybe hundreds, all staring up at you, each with a different expression: curiosity, terror, rage, and everyone wearing the bell. Suddenly, a rope is tossed over your shoulder. You turn. A cloaked figure stands behind you, face hidden, but their voice is low, gravelly, genderless. If you still hear the bell, you're not too late. You look down. The rope leads into the well, and tied to the end is a key. You glance back at the stranger, but they're already gone. Just mist now, retreating into alleyways that weren't there before. You grab the rope. It bites your palm, but you pull. The key rises slowly, swinging, glinting silver in a place that has no sun. When it reaches your hand, it's warm, like it's been in someone's pocket or pressed to a chest. And carved into its bow, T41. The book never mentioned a key, or a gate, or the others. You look up again. The village has changed. Each window now holds a face, some peeking, some glaring, some crying. All of them familiar, all of them yours. One of them mouths, "Run." So you do. You bolt from the square, the key in hand. The air gets thicker. Not fog now, smoke. It's coming from behind you. The well has caught fire, but the flames don't rise. They sink downward, being pulled into the ground like they're afraid of the sky. And then, just as your lungs begin to burn, you reach the door, a wooden arch, hidden behind ivy and overgrown stone. It doesn't look like much, but when you place the key into the lock, it clicks with a sound like a bell snapping shut. And when you turn it, the door opens into a memory, not yours, but one you were always meant to carry. You step through. You are 12 years old, kneeling in front of a fireplace. The room smells like smoke and rosemary. Your grandmother, though she's younger now, leans close. She whispers, "Never ring the bell unless you're ready to forget." And you remember, you did ring it, a long time ago, but you weren't ready, so you forgot. You forgot the room, the tower, the others, until now. And now, it's coming back. All of it. Your name, your task, your promise. You look up from the fire, and she's not your grandmother anymore. She's you older, wearing the robe, holding the book, smiling but not kindly. You've finally made it back. But are you ready to wake up this time? You try to speak, to ask what she means, but your mouth doesn't move. No tongue, no voice, no breath. You're watching yourself, older, wiser, colder. Turn the pages of the black book, the one with no title, the one that once burned your fingertips just from a whisper. And now you're reading aloud. Each word lands like a drop of hot wax on the skin of reality. He who rings, forgets. She who remembers, returns. But those who sleep, remain. The pages flip on their own now. Faster, faster. Symbols flash like lightning. Medieval Latin, half-familiar runes, and faces between the lines. You see them all, each of the 40 who came before. One woman is knitting shadows. A monk is laughing with an empty cup.
Aboy eats pape.
They all had names, and none of them ever left. You weren't supposed to find this place again, she says, you say. The firelight flickers, and suddenly you're the one holding the book. It's heavy, heavier than guilt, but the key is still in your hand. And now the key is glowing, no longer silver, but pulsing a deep crimson. Warm, but with a heartbeat of its own. You turn to look for the door you came in through, but it's vanished. Now there's only a staircase, stone, worn down in the center by hundreds of steps. It winds downward, endlessly. You swallow, and for the first time tonight, you realize you're truly alone. Even the older you is gone, just her faint voice echoing. If you reach the bottom before the bell rings again, you'll remember everything. You step forward, and the stone groans beneath your weight. Each stair is colder. Each one smells more like damp paper and dusted parchment. You pass things etched into the walls as you descend. He was the ninth. He laughed too loud. Don't turn around after the 100th step. Some doors don't open until you forget you've seen them. You count your steps out of nervous habit. 17, 31, 46. You stop at step 59. There's a door here. No handle, but nailed to the front is a doll's arm, twisted into a pointing gesture. You don't touch it. You keep walking. Step 74. You pass a mirror. Small, cracked, and fogged. But you can see yourself. Only your eyes are covered by a cloth. You blink, but in the mirror nothing changes. Covered eyes. You wave. No reaction. You stop looking. Step 100. You freeze, because you remember the warning. Don't turn around after the 100th step. Your breath catches. You hadn't meant to count out loud, but now every word echoes behind you. Something stirs in the stairwell, soft at first like silk dragging over stone. Then a whisper, turn around. You grip the book tighter, and you keep going. Step 117. There's another door here, a small one, too small to fit through, but it's ajar. Inside you see a child's room, a cot, a spinning top, a pile of stones shaped like a person, and in the corner, the bell, just sitting there, not tied to anything, not ringing. You step closer. The air gets warm. Your fingers twitch. You reach in too far, and the bell rings. Once, only once, but it hits something inside you. Your ears fill with wind. Your eyes blur, and when the ringing stops, you're back, standing at the base of the stairs. The book is gone. The key is gone, but you still remember everything. Your name, your task, the way you left them behind, and the thing you forgot on purpose. You are not the 41st. You are the first, and the tower has only just begun. You don't remember walking into this room. It's circular, built from smooth stone that hums faintly when you breathe too loud. And it's too tall. The ceiling stretches far beyond what the tower should allow, like looking up into a cathedral carved from a canyon. There's no furniture, no torch, but somehow it's not dark. A soft glow pulses from the center of the room. Not light exactly, more like a memory of light. Floating just above the floor is a mask. Not resting, not hanging, just hovering. Made of wood, old and splintered. Its painted smile is cracked. The left eye socket is filled with salt. The right with a single crow's feather. You know instantly that you've worn it before. Not in this life, but somewhere. A village burning. A name lost. A choice made. You circle it, carefully, trying not to disturb the air. But something shifts when you pass behind it. You hear a voice. Not from the mask, from the space behind it. Take it, and you'll remember her name. You don't know who her is, but you kneel. And as your fingers graze the edges of the mask, you see the tower. Not this version. An earlier one, rougher, wooden, built by hands trembling with devotion and something worse. You see monks in soot-covered robes carrying bricks in silence. You see children placing feathers into the mortar between the stones. You see a woman in red robes, eyes bandaged, writing on the walls in wax. Then it's gone, and the mask is in your hands. It's cold now, too cold for wood. You raise it just enough to peer inside, and find, carved on the inside, forgotten to save the others. Your pulse stutters, because you recognize the handwriting. It's yours. No, not quite. It's from a journal you kept. Long ago, when you still thought escape was possible. You look up, and now she's standing across the room. Not the older you, not the red-robed woman. Someone else. Her. The one whose name you were promised. She's dressed like a noblewoman from the 12th century, but her gown is soaked at the hem, as though she's walked through a flooded chapel. Her hair is braided in loops, and her face is blurred. You blink, and it stays blurred. You left me behind, she says. You try to explain, but the mask begins to hum. You grip it tighter. You feel it trying to pull from your hands. Not away, but onto your face. She tilts her head. Put it on. You hesitate, but your hands are no longer yours. The mask covers your eyes, and suddenly you are her, screaming as the tower burns, carrying a child that won't stop singing, kneeling in a circle drawn in milk. You feel what she felt: betrayal, hope, something left unfinished, and then silence. When you take the mask off your back, your face is wet, your fingers smell like wax, and the name that was stolen, you know it now, Iseldra. You whisper it, and the stone beneath you shudders. Somewhere far above, a bell rings twice, once for you, once for her, and something unlocks. A door that wasn't there before creaks open behind you. You turn, and there, waiting just inside the frame, is a room of mirrors, and none of them reflect you. You step through the threshold, and the sound of your feet vanishes. No echo, no scuff of shoe against stone. Not even your breathing reaches your ears. The silence here is wrong. It's not absence. It's consumption. The mirrors stretch from floor to ceiling, framed in silver tarnished like rotting lace. Some are cracked, some misted with condensation. Some move slightly, as if they breathe. And though none of them show you, they show something. You walk slowly past the first. Inside, a boy, maybe 10, sleeping in a field of bones. He smiles in his sleep, and on his chest rests a carved wooden mask. The next mirror, a woman hunched over a desk, scratching wax letters into parchment using a feather quill, dipped in blood. The same woman from before? Her bandaged eyes suggest yes. But the mirror flickers and she's gone. Another mirror. This time it shows a shadow. Just a shadow. And behind it, your tower, burning in reverse. Ashes flying back into place. Smoke uncoiling into fresh firewood. Screams rewinding into laughter. You keep walking. Your heart beats faster now, because you notice a pattern. These mirrors, they aren't just reflections. They're memories, not yours, but of those who came before, those who tried to sleep here and failed. You pause at a mirror that glows faint blue. It shows a woman curled up in a straw bed, shivering under a tapestry of red birds. She holds a dagger close, blade inward. Above her hangs a sign. Do not wake her. You lean in, and the woman opens her eyes. Directly at you. You stumble back. Your shoulder grazes another mirror. It swings slightly, like a door trying to decide if it's welcome. Suddenly, you feel a pull. From behind your ribs. From the soles of your feet. Like the room wants you to stay. Not your body. Your memory. Careful, says a voice behind you. If you give them too much, they'll keep you forever. You spin around. It's him, the man with the candle from earlier sections. Same soot-stained robe, same wax-dipped fingers. Only now his face is clearer. Young, tired, a scholar, or a ghost who reads. He raises a lantern. The flame inside burns with a dark blue hue. The mirrors are not for you, he says. They feed on stories left unfinished. You nod slowly, but your fingers still tremble, because behind him, on the far wall, is the largest mirror yet. And though the others showed strangers or shadows or blurred scenes, this one shows your bedroom, your real bedroom, right now. Blankets slightly askew, fan humming, that crooked lamp you never fix. And in the bed, you, sleeping, you blink rapidly, but the image remains. Some doors don't need keys, the man murmurs. Just doubt. You stare. Your other self turns slightly, mumbling something into the pillow. Is this a way back? But before you can move, the man steps between you and the mirror. It's not your time. Yet. Then he offers you something. A candle, short, stubby, half-burned. It smells of salt and sleep. This will help, but only once. You take it, and as you do, the blue mirror, the one showing your room, shatters silently. No noise, just falling shards like silver snow. The room begins to vibrate. All the mirrors tremble now, and for a second you see something terrible. They all reflect you. Dozens of versions. Old, young, burning, laughing, broken, masked. Some reach toward you. Some turn away. The man holds your wrist tight. There's one more floor, he says. But you mustn't look down when you walk the spiral. Promise me. You nod because your voice is gone. He leads you toward the far corner, where a thin stone staircase curls upward. The candle flickers in your hand. You begin to climb, and as you do, you hear whispers, some in Latin, some in languages long dead, some in your voice, all saying the same thing. Don't sleep yet. You ascend slowly, not because your legs are tired, but because the air is heavy, presses against your chest like wet wool, smelling faintly of ink, beeswax, and something almost metallic. The spiral staircase coils impossibly high, wider than the tower itself should allow. Each step groans, not like stone, but like teeth shifting in a jaw. You remember what the candle man warned. Don't look down. You obey mostly, but curiosity is a trait that even the most haunted guest can't silence entirely. So you sneak a glance, and wish you hadn't, because below you, there is no staircase, just a hole, pitch black, and falling toward it, slowly, silently, a procession of beds, each occupied, some by children, some by old men, some by something else. Eyes closed, hands folded, descending into that impossible dark like leaves into a well. One of them opens its eyes and smiles. You snap your gaze upward again, breathing faster. The spiral finally ends in a landing. No grand door, no Gothic arch, just a curtain, frayed velvet the color of dried blood, pinned open by silver needles. Beyond it, warmth. You step through, and everything changes. The room is wide, impossibly wide. It shouldn't fit inside a tower. It shouldn't exist, but it does. The walls are wood, paneled and carved with careful care. The floor is quilted, not carpeted, but stitched from actual quilts. Dozens, hundreds, and in the center a bed. Somehow it is the bed. Canopy high, drapes low, feather stuffed, blankets like fog. There is no dust here. The air is fragrant, not sweet, too old for that, but comforting, like an ancient perfume you forgot your grandmother wore. A fireplace crackles gently, though no logs feed it, and someone sits beside the bed. A woman, bent with age, wrapped in velvet robes. Her hands are folded neatly atop a book bound in pale leather. She does not speak, only watches you. You hesitate. The room feels too warm, too safe. Go on. A voice behind you whispers. You turn, but no one is there, except a flicker of motion in the quilted floor, twitches, then settles. The woman at the bed smiles faintly. You made it farther than most. Her voice is dry, like turning pages. You approach slowly. This is the last bed in the tower, she says. The one no one dares to sleep in. You nod. Somehow you've always known that. She gestures to the book. Would you like me to read to you? You hesitate again. She tilts her head. The firelight plays gently across her hollow cheeks. If I read, you must stay, just until the end. No one likes a story interrupted. There's something in her tone kind, but absolute. You look down at the bed. The pillow is already indented, as if someone your shape has already lain there. And suddenly you realize, this room, this tower, has been waiting for you for a very, very long time. What happens if I lie down? You ask. Then you'll dream, she replies, like all the others. But the difference is, you might wake up. She extends her hand, thin, cold, smelling faintly of lavender and old ink. You take it, because of course you do. And as she helps you into the bed, as the blankets rise up like a wave, you hear the whispering again. Only now it's gentle, a lullaby in a language that never had a written form. She opens the book, begins to read. Once, there was a tower no one dared to sleep in, and the room fades, not into darkness, but into velvet, warmth, and words. You dream, but it's not the usual kind. No floating, no falling, no half-remembered nonsense that slips away like steam in morning light. This dream is structured, tangible, historical. You find yourself walking through a scriptorium. Long wooden desks, goosefeather quills, candles guttering with every breath of wind. Monks are hunched over parchment, copying line by line. Their hands are steady, their eyes red with strain. The margins are filled not with flourishes, but with warnings. Do not read this aloud. This tale should remain unfinished. To sleep in ink is to wake in fire. You pass each warning with a nervous glance, but your feet don't stop. Because in this dream, this memory, you are not in control. You're retracing someone else's path. You reach a particular desk and a particular page. The script is strange, more symbols than letters, but the image beside it is painfully familiar. It's the tower, your tower, drawn with mathematical precision. And there, on the 15th floor, is the room you just left, labeled only with one Latin word, vigilantum, the watcher. Before you can react, the page twitches. No, not the page, the illustration. The tower on the parchment shivers, windows shift, the curtain parts, and in the ink drawing of the forbidden bedchamber, you see yourself, lying under the covers, eyes wide open. You look up, and so does the you in the picture. Perfect mirror, exact delay. And then you smiles, but it's not your smile. It's older, sharper, like the woman's smile from the previous room. The monks around you don't notice. They are busy scratching out lines, crossing through entire pages with frantic red strokes. One of them stands suddenly and slams a heavy book shut. Too late, he mutters. The reader is already in. You blink, and the scriptorium vanishes. Now you are sitting at a long table, banquet style, only no food, just mirrors. Every plate is polished glass, and every goblet is filled with ink. You're not alone. To your left sits a man in rusted chainmail, eyes hollow. He never blinks. To your right, a young child, hair matted, She hums an old lullaby you almost remember. Across from you, a woman with no face, just smooth, blank skin where features should be. Everyone at the table stares at you, even the ones without eyes. A clock chimes in the distance, 12 slow tolls, and one by one, each guest leans forward. Do you know what's written on your page? They whisper in unison. You glance down. Where your plate once reflected your face, now it shows text. Medieval English, black letter, but you can read it. Here ends the watcher's wandering. If they wake, the tower changes. If they sleep, the tower endures. You look up. Everyone is gone. The table empty. The goblets spilled. Ink drips from the edges like blood from a butcher's block. A door creaks open at the far end of the hall. You walk toward it. No other choice. It opens into your bedroom. The real one. The one from your world. With your desk lamp, your books, your favorite blanket. And yet, it's not quite right. The wallpaper pattern is off. Your mirror reflects a room that's one step out of sync. The fan hums in reverse. Your body lies in bed, sound asleep, eyes closed, breathing steady. But you're not inside it. Not yet. You lean closer. Your sleeping self opens one eye, smiles, and says, "You're late." You don't answer, not aloud, because your sleeping self is already sitting up. Their movements are yours, but not quite. Smoother, slower, as if they've had time to rehearse. The eye that opened now stares at you, and it's not curious or alarmed. It's knowing, expectant. "We told you not to come back." Your other self says, voice like wet paper tearing. You try to speak, but the air around you is thick, syrupy. Words stick in your mouth like forgotten names. Your other self swings their legs off the bed. Their feet don't touch the floor. They hover. The tower remembers you now. You shake your head. This is your room, your reality, your exit. But it isn't. Not anymore. Because behind your doppelganger, the wall cracks. Stone creeps through wallpaper. The fan melts into a brass lantern. The mirror turns black. The room is becoming the tower. You brought it with you, they say, stepping toward you. In the folds of your memory, in the spaces you left empty. And now you see it. This isn't a dream within the tower. This is the tower dreaming of you. You back away, but there's no door, only stairs spiraling up through the ceiling and down into the floor. Your other self lifts one finger, points up. There's one place left you haven't looked. The room no one remembers building. Your candle. Remember the stub the masked man gave you? It's flickering wildly now. Blue flame, sharp and terrified. You raise it above your head, and the stairs upward begin to reveal themselves. Narrow, made of parchment, ink still wet. Every step has words on it, blurring as you move. You begin to climb. Behind you, your other self does not follow. They simply whisper, "Don't look down." The spiral tightens. You pass names etched into the risers. Iseldra, the bellbearer, the 41st. Then you see it, your name, except it's still being written, letter by letter, burning into the step as you approach. When you reach it, the candle sputters. You're almost out of time, and that's when the stairs end. You arrive at a door, made of black iron. No handle, only a symbol carved into the surface. A closed eye. You raise your hand, touch the eyelid, and it opens. There's no light on the other side, only scent, dust, pine resin, the unmistakable smell of books. The final room is a library, but unlike the others you've seen, this one is alive. Books float slowly through the air like jellyfish. Pages whisper as they pass. A quill scratches unseen somewhere in the corner. At the center of the room stands a pedestal, and on it, is a mirror, polished, perfect, and for the first time in hours, days, years, you see your reflection, exactly as you are, eyes wide, candle nearly spent, covered in dust, and on your forehead, you see something, a mark, not ink, a number, 0. You blink, changes, 41. You blink again, 1. The mirror ripples. Your reflection leans forward and speaks. You were never here to escape. You were here to take your place. The candle in your hand dies, and the room plunges into soft, silken dark. But this time you don't feel afraid. You feel known. A whisper reaches you from all sides, spoken in your own voice. Lie down. You lie down, not on a bed, on words. The floor beneath you is parchment, stitched together sheets covered in spidery script. Your own name appears over and over, written in different hands. One of them looks like your childhood scrawl, another like your signature from last week. As you settle in, the pages curl slightly, as if tucking you in. A breeze drifts through the library, not from any window, but from between the books. They shift in the air like slow birds, drifting in loops, brushing your skin with their soft, vellum wings. Each time one passes, you hear it whisper, "Remember me. You promised to finish. You were always meant to return." You shut your eyes. The parchment beneath you warms slightly, as if reacting to your presence. Like the tower is taking your temperature, measuring your weight, recording your acceptance. Something moves at your feet, not something solid, a sensation. Ink creeps up your skin like water rising in a sponge. Not staining exactly, rewriting. You flinch, and somewhere above, a bell rings once. Clear, soft, final. The floating books pause midair. Pages stop turning. Even your breath feels recorded, transcribed in invisible calligraphy beside your lips. Then, you can still go back, a voice says, but it's not coming from the mirror, not from the tower. Comes from inside you. Your voice, your actual voice, not the dreaming one, not the imagined one. Yours. The floor breathes once beneath you, then stiffens. A doorway appears in the wall beside the mirror. It leads not into stone, but into fabric. You see the edge of your real-world bedspread, the faint shape of your nightstand, your half-full glass of water. It's your bedroom, the one you left behind. All you have to do is rise, step through, leave the tower, forget. But the mirror calls again. Your reflection is back, except now they're smiling. Quiet, sad smile, like they know something you don't, like they've been through this before. You whisper, "What happens if I stay?" And the library answers. The books begin to hum. The parchment beneath you glows faintly, as if lit from within. In your palm, a pen appears, old-fashioned, quill. No ink bottle. It doesn't need one. The pen writes only truth. And truth here is memory. If you stay, the mirror says, you become the storyteller. You blink. The doorway back home flickers, then steadies, still open. But something inside you has changed. You're not running anymore. You're not lost. You're needed. You rise not toward the door, but toward the pedestal. Take the quill and begin to write. You write the first word. It writes you back. A warm pulse moves through your fingers, like dipping your hand into a bath drawn just for you. The quill glides, even though you don't quite know what to say. But that's the thing about this place. It remembers. You're not inventing a story. You're recording what was always meant to be written. And as the letters form, something astonishing happens. They rise, not metaphorically, physically. The ink lifts off the page, coiling like mist. The words become threads, black, silver, rust red, spinning themselves into images. A boy kneeling at the foot of a dead king's bed, a nun clutching a burned book, a knight removing his armor, not for battle, but for prayer. Your tower lives through these stories, and you're not watching anymore. You're curating, stewarding. Each sleeper had a secret, says the voice of the tower, now familiar. Each secret was a seed. Books begin to slide into your field of vision. They stack themselves like loyal dogs, waiting. Each one bears a title, some in Latin, some in dead languages. One in perfect cursive reads simply, "Your dreams from 2009." Another, "Things you almost remember." And one, bound in soft green leather, reads, "The room no one slept in." You touch it, not to open it, just to feel it. The leather breathes beneath your fingertips. You're not afraid anymore. You're curious. Across the room, the mirror glows again. But now it shows not just your face, but the faces of everyone who's ever stood here before. Hundreds of them, thousands, sleepy-eyed, hopeful, fearful, lonely, like you were once. What is this place really? You ask aloud. The ink around you forms a sentence in midair. A dream remembered is a place returned to, and suddenly you see it. The tower isn't a building. It never was. It's a memory palace, a cathedral of the forgotten. Each room is someone's grief. Each stairwell someone's promise. And this room that no one dared sleep in, it's the room of those who needed to write instead of rest. Those who weren't ready to forget. You sit back, let the quill hover, and whisper a small truth. I was always meant to be here. At that, the mirror bows slightly, and the pages around you turn in unison, like applause. It doesn't start with footsteps anymore, not even echoes. Now it starts with a breath. Yours, and the tower breathes with you. The room is quieter than silence. That strange kind of quiet you only hear at 3:27 a.m., when even your dreams hold their breath. Before you is a final door, wood warped slightly by centuries of seasons, brass knob cold as moonlight, and carved into its center, one sentence in your own handwriting. Don't go in unless you've forgiven yourself. You hesitate, not out of fear, out of reverence, because something in you knows this isn't just a metaphor, not just a symbol in some dreamy tale. This is the core, the final room, the one that no one, not even the bravest monks, not even the ones who stitched stars into their bedsheets, dared open. But you've come this far. You press the door open, and there it is. No monsters, no shrieks, just a bed. A simple, low-framed, medieval bed, linen sheets, a wooden pillow block, a sleeping robe folded neatly at the foot. The air smells faintly of lavender and charcoal, like someone once tried to sleep here long ago. At the far end, a stone window, round, moonlit, framing a night sky exactly as you remember it from your childhood. The night before school. The night you stayed up reading by flashlight. The night you realized you were small but not insignificant. Parchment lies on the bed. Its ink still wet. It says only this: you've made it. You can rest now. And for the first time, maybe in years, your shoulders drop. The tension melts from your jaw. You forget what your phone background is. You forget what tomorrow demands. You remember how to be tired in a good way. There's no dramatic flourish, no applause. You just pull back the sheets, lie down, and close your eyes. The bed creaks a little, comforting. The kind of creak that says, you're allowed to exhale here. And you do. Outside, the tower breathes again. Not loudly, not hauntingly, just gently, like a parent standing watch over a finally sleeping child. Somewhere far below, the ink quill scribbles one last line in a book titled with your name. They slept, and dreamed, and woke into peace. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to know this part. Even the dust in the corridor pulls away from your steps, as if trying to preserve a secret older than the stones themselves. The air changes, not in temperature but in texture, like silk stretched thin over a blade. It hums, not from any sound but from a sense. The way a room hums just before lightning strikes, or before someone says your name when you haven't heard it in years. You've reached the base of the narrow, coiled staircase leading to the final room. The one no one dared sleep in, not because of curses or ghosts, but because of what the room knew. Yes, you heard that right. What the room knew. But let's back up a bit. Before you reach the top step, before your hand meets the latch, you should understand the story carved into this final space. They called it the record chamber, though no record books were stored here. No maps, no scrolls, no relics of value. Instead, it was where the last of the tower's architects left his thoughts. Not in ink, but in whispers. A stonemason named Hadrian, who insisted he could speak to the keep itself. People called him mad. He called himself the interpreter. Every stone laid in the upper floors was, according to him, laid in conversation. He said the tower wanted to remember, not history, not facts, emotions. That's why no one slept here. They said that the room absorbed everything you brought in: grief, guilt, longing, and gave it back to you with interest. Some described reliving arguments they'd forgotten. Others heard voices of lovers who were still alive, but felt impossibly far away. One monk claimed he walked in happy and came out with a complete understanding of his own funeral. Charming bedtime fare, right? And yet, here you are. Each stair groans beneath your weight, not from decay, but like a reluctant host answering the door too late at night. The door to the room has no handle, just a wooden circle you must press. It sighs open. Inside, the room is empty. No furniture, no torch holders, no cobwebs, no rats, no creaking beams. Just you, and whatever you've carried this far. The acoustics are strange. Even your breath sounds like it's being transcribed. And then it happens. You feel the room settle around you, like a blanket pulled gently over your shoulders. Your memories flicker, uninvited. That one time you lied and were never caught. The birthday you ruined because of something stupid. The person you miss and pretend you don't. Not cruelly, not accusingly. More like, the room is offering you a chance to rest with those things, not in spite of them. You lie down on the bare stone floor, somehow softer than it looks, and the silence isn't hollow. It's held, the way a cathedral holds silence, the way the back of your mind holds dreams you never get to the end of. And for the first time, you realize the truth. No one slept in this room not because they were afraid, but because they knew if they ever did, they wouldn't want to sleep anywhere else again. And maybe they were right. You're already drifting. The room remembers for you now. You don't have to hold it all anymore. Let it go. Let the tower keep it. You're almost home, almost asleep, and there's still more to tell, but only if your dreams ask for it. You wake up, though not in the way you're used to. There's no jolt, no confusion, no reaching for your phone. Just the soft feeling of awareness returning, like a page slowly turning in a book you forgot you were reading. And when your eyes open, the room hasn't changed, but you have. Something inside feels rearranged. You sit up. The stone beneath you no longer feels cold or hard. It feels like part of you, this morning or something like it. There's no sun in this tower, no birdsong to mark the hour, but there's a kind of brightness that wasn't there before, the kind that lives inside rather than out. And when you stand, the walls don't echo anymore, because the room's done remembering for now. You walk out slowly, back down the staircase that seemed to groan the night before. Now it just listens. Silently, the corridor feels wider. The dust doesn't recoil. Even the air seems to walk beside you now, like it knows your name. But what's strange is how familiar it all is. The tower that once felt like a foreign body, a labyrinth of secrets and fears, now feels almost like a childhood home you'd forgotten. Odd corners bring back feelings instead of confusion. That alcove near the stairwell? You suddenly remember someone carving a heart there, centuries ago. You don't know who, but you feel the moment sharp and clear. This place has welcomed you into its memory, and now you carry some of it. You're not the first. You won't be the last. Long before you, a soldier once did the same walk. He'd arrived full of fury and left with a quiet smile. A midwife slept in that room once and dreamed of every child she'd delivered who didn't survive, then woke knowing she had not failed them. Even the monk, the one who saw his own funeral, he returned every year after that just to sit in silence. The tower doesn't ask for offerings. It asks for honesty, and in return, it gives you a version of yourself you might have forgotten still existed. You walk toward the outer hall now, where a small arched window lets in a sliver of light. It touches your face like it's brushing off the cobwebs of time. You lean into it, warm and weightless. There's a door ahead, one you didn't see before. It's been there, hidden in plain sight. But now that you've seen the inside of the tower, it reveals itself like a held breath finally let go. Do you open it? You don't need to answer. Your hand's already on the latch. And just as you press, you hear something behind you. Not a voice, not a word, just a feeling. The tower saying goodbye in its own ancient way. Not farewell, just until next time, because this place never really lets you go. Simply waits for your return, for someone else brave or lost or tired enough to wander in. And next time, maybe you'll be the one whispering in the stones. Maybe you already are. You step through the hidden door. It doesn't creak, doesn't protest. It opens like it's been expecting you, like it's grateful. The space beyond is narrow, dustless, and strangely warm. Not warm like summer, warm like breath, like memory. You feel your feet move without needing to choose a direction. Left, then a gentle slope. You run your fingers along the wall. It's smoother here, almost polished, like hundreds of hands have done the same over centuries. Maybe they have. The corridor takes you somewhere the tower never hinted at. Below, you descend, slowly, one shallow step at a time, each one quieter than the last, until sound itself seems to fade, like you've slipped beneath the fabric of the world. And then you're there. It's not a room, not really. It's a space carved by silence. There's a stone basin in the middle, filled not with water, but with something darker, thicker. Ink? Blood? Time itself? You don't ask. You know you won't get a clear answer, because down here, clarity is not the point. This place isn't for explanation. It's for exchange. You kneel, not out of reverence, not fear, but necessity. The weight of it all demands it. You look into the basin, and it looks back. Not a reflection, not even a vision, just a presence. Yours and not yours. You see flashes. A man in a wolfskin cloak pressing his hand to this same stone, whispering in a language no longer spoken. A barefoot girl scattering dried herbs while weeping softly. A knight removing one gauntlet to write something on the wall with his finger, except nothing ever appears. You blink. They're gone. But the feeling isn't. It's like your veins have picked up their rhythm, like your breath has synced with their echo. They were here, and now you are too. A phrase slips into your head, so sudden you're not sure if you thought it or heard it. What we offer in silence, the tower remembers in stone. You run your hand along the edge of the basin, cold, then suddenly warm. The The stone pulses just once. It's the tower saying something again, but without words. You rise, and behind you the door has vanished. Of course it has. This place doesn't offer straight paths, only circles. You find yourself back in the corridor. Not the same one, but similar. Familiar in the way dreams are familiar. It smells like lavender and burnt parchment. The tower is letting you go. Or perhaps it's letting you return to the parts of yourself you left behind. As you ascend, the steps don't creak. They hum, low and steady. You feel not whole exactly, but held. And for the first time, you realize the tower doesn't need to be explained, mapped, or solved. It just needs to be felt and remembered. You emerge somewhere unexpected. Not a grand chamber, not the topmost turret, but a small room, round and hushed, walls made of the same soft gray stone as before, but worn smoother here, like they've been breathing for centuries. It's quiet, but not empty. A single chair sits at the center. Not a throne, not even comfortable. Just a simple, high-backed wooden chair facing a window that doesn't open. You walk toward it, but you already know the truth. This is the room no one slept in. And now, you understand why. It wasn't cursed. It wasn't dangerous. It was sacred, too full of memory, too heavy with stories, too alive. You run your fingers along the back of the chair. The wood is smooth, warm. Someone sat here often, many someones, and each time, they left something behind. The air is thick with the ghosts of unspoken things, whispers that never made it into prayer, sobs caught before they could become tears, laughs that never found breath. You sit, not to rest, but to listen, and the tower delivers. A voice, not loud, not outside you, but inside you, begins to speak. Not in language, but in feeling. And you know, a scribe once came here and wrote nothing for 7 days straight. He said the silence was the truest script. A queen once knelt here and asked the walls if love could outlast power. A thief once hid here, clutching a stolen ring, and left behind the only honest thought they'd ever had. No one slept in this room, because this room doesn't let you forget. And sleep requires forgetting, doesn't it? Sleep requires a softening, a drifting, a trust that nothing needs your attention. But in this place, you feel everything at once. It's like sitting in the spine of the world. Outside the window, dawn is trying to break. You can't tell how long you've been here. A night? A season? Time bends around the tower. It doesn't pass, it folds. You stand. The chair creaks slightly, just once, as if thanking you for your stillness. Before you leave, you trace your finger along the stone windowsill. A name is scratched there, nearly faded away. It's your own, but not in your handwriting. You don't flinch. You don't question it. You nod, because somehow, deep down, you've always known. You've been here before, and now, like all the others, you'll carry this place back with you. Not in your hands, but in the quiet between your thoughts, in the soft echo behind your footsteps. The forbidden tower room no one slept in? No, it's the room no one could wake from. Not fully, not ever. You're still here, not in the tower, not exactly, but in the space between its breath and your own. The room you just left, if you really left it, feels like a memory that belongs more to your body than your brain. Like the first time you floated in water, or the softest blanket you ever touched, or the moment just before a hug lands. Your heartbeat has slowed. Your eyelids have grown heavier. You've already forgotten what the day demanded of you. And that's good. That's exactly what's supposed to happen now. Because in this moment, there's nothing left to chase. No more hidden rooms. No more riddles. No more medieval bells or forgotten prayers. Just the soft hum of whatever you're lying on right now, the coolness of your pillow, and the warmth gathering behind your eyes. You've wandered through centuries tonight, stepped through echoing halls, past whispers and worn stone. You saw how even fear changes over time, how it bends and softens and learns to make room for rest. And now you've earned that rest too. Maybe your legs are tucked up just right. Maybe the fan's whir has become a lullaby. Maybe you've already slipped halfway into dreams and you'll only hear the first few words of what comes next. That's okay. It's more than okay. Let it fade. Let the story end without an edge, without a bang. Let it blur like candlelight behind heavy lids. The tower's still there, somewhere in your memory. And if you ever need it again, you know the way back. For now, no more voices, no more pages, just stillness, and breath, and sleep.